Hey guys, Timcast music producer Carter Banks here, wanting to wish you a Merry Christmas. We just signed our first artist to Trash House Records, and we have our first debut single coming out December 12th. Pre-save it on your favorite stream platform at trashhousechristmas.com. Support our work.
Reddit is suing the Australian government over social media ban for under 16s. So Australia has decided that they're going to protect the kids in Australia, and they're going to say that you have to be 16 years old to access social media. And Reddit has we don't have this article, and Reddit has taken to has a problem with it. So from the Wall Street Journal, they were saying Reddit is taking the Australian government to court to block its social media ban for children under the age of 16, saying the ban infringes on the freedom of political discourse. I imagine most of the guys here kind of feel like it's a good idea to limit the social media diet of young people. And I think it's a good idea too. Now, I think that it should be something that parents do, but I don't think that the government should be doing it. But I do think that, especially considering Australia's government, they're really worried about, right leaning.
Right.
Because the government is so progressive, so left leaning.
It goes back to the earlier point. It's like when the left is throwing you a bone, you should be very suspicious of what's going on here.
Yeah.
This has happened in the past, and look, I might get some flack for this, but it's true. Is like you would see left-wing cities loosen up gun restrictions from time to time. And they weren't doing that because they were like 2A absolutists. They were doing that so they could get people off of gun charges. Because like if a DA was desperate and he got a guy on a crime and he didn't have anything else, it'd be airtight. He'd chuck a gun charge on there and guarantee put away this guy. And this was obviously before like a big influx of like Soros DAs came in, is they would basically lax gun laws so that way they could let. So it's the same. What I'm getting at is the same idea. It's like when the left throws you a bone on something like this, there's a huge ulterior motive. Not to mention getting sued by Reddit has to be the most embarrassing thing ever. Like, I don't know how bad you have to call out to get sued by Reddit. I mean, what are we doing?
I mean, I don't blame them banning kids off Reddit because, why are you on Reddit in the first place, for Reddit karma or whatever. But, like you said with the gun thing, now all of a sudden leftists are pro Second Amendment because they have these, the Pink Pony Club, all these weird groups that are now showing up with guns. And like even Tyler Robinson, maybe, like we're looking into, they're becoming extremists with these and they're starting to embrace this, which is, it's kind of different. They always say the right is always the gun nuts, but, the left has started to embrace these, guns and,
that's
all of a sudden
scary.
we have terrorism.
Because they name their gun clubs after like guys like John Brown.
Oh, yes.
And I mean, maybe we know the story there. Like they fetishize this guy who was like literally insane, who just went around just like killing normal white people because he thought that would cause a slave uprising.
You know he was hung just like right down the street here.
Oh yeah.
We are in sacred land.
Yeah. You're on occupied Confederate land. Let's do a land acknowledgement.
There we go.
Reagan, I'm not like the biggest Reagan guy, but a lot of stuff that people criticize Reagan for, one of the things, like a lot of 2A absolutists get mad at Reagan because one of the things he did as governor of California was crack down on open carrying. And so if you're just looking at that on paper, you're like, what the frick, Ronald Reagan? We want to be able to open carry. The reason he was doing that is because Black Panthers were showing up like with rifles, trying to intimidate like normal, just white American Christians.
Following cops.
Yeah, and Reagan was like, okay, we're probably going to stop that given that like you people have been like... shouldn't say you people. Given that members of your organization and affiliates have been like killing police officers, trying to incite violence and things of that nature. So, and you saw that too, to your point about the throwing the bone with Zoran Mandani recently when he did that thing where he's talking about deregulating. Dude, all these people are so desperate to think that we can finally just like talk our way out of this with the left that they're like, the pendulum's swinging back, and they've learned that they're going to have to deregulate because of market economics and reading, Henry Hazlitt or whatever. And it's because the deregulation he's referring to, as he mentions, is specifically stuff pertaining to fines when you've got, like, I don't know, fecal matter in a kitchen. Things that you would expect from third world people coming over and trying to exist in civilization for the first time. And they just wouldn't think to do stuff like that, like maintain clean standards, not have, child labor. And so the American government would come in, New York City government, and be like, okay, well, you're probably gonna have to like pay a fine for that. And so when he's deregulating, removing red tape, it's not because he's like some pro-market, like based capitalist or whatever. It's specifically because he's trying to help these people, these foreigners in New York who elected him, because native-born New Yorkers went for Cuomo. It was only the foreign population that installed Mamdani into becoming mayor. And so I tried to explain that to people. They're getting very angry with me. I was like, you need to be 200 IQ enough to understand that in this instance, deregulation is actually Marxist.
Yeah, well, there's like, it's people that I know and respect, and I think they're really smart people. They're desperate to like intellectualize what's happening with Mamdani. They're like, oh, this is like wholesome Chungus populism. And it's like, they're desperately trying to like retcon what is obviously just an instance of third worldism that's come to this country. And yeah, they're trying to backfill it and be like, no, he's actually speaking about like housing and like he's really like prying deep into these concerns that New Yorkers have. I'm like, the New Yorker you have in your head is in Florida right now. He left like 10 years ago.
Yep.
What we're dealing with is an entirely different composition of people. The entire half of Queens is foreign born. When Trump was growing up there, it was certainly not the case. And by the way, Trump's keenly aware of that. But yeah, this like trying to intellectualize Mamdani when it's very straightforward what he's doing. This is just how politics is conducted in his homeland of Uganda. Like that the wholesome Chungus populism stuff needs to stop.
Well,
Like, it's getting out of control.
when I confronted Mandami in the White House in the Oval Office,
Patriot.
that's and I knew that I would get a question, or at least have the opportunity to kind of get a question in, and I knew he was coming in. And I was actually at the White House for a totally separate thing, but it was on the same day. And then Mandami showed up early. And it was funny because Trump was actually like, he's like, oh, he made a big mistake. You don't show up early. Because he's like sitting in the lobby for the Oval. And he goes, should I let him in? Should I let him in? I said, make him sweat, Mr. President. You know,
He's out in the hallway, stooped over a bowl, eating with his hands.
yeah. Well, no. So I actually, it's funny you mentioned that because my original thought was that I wasn't going to ask him a question. Originally, I was like, I don't want to give him a question. I looked around, I was like, Danny, you guys have a fork? And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, and I said, because I just want to take a fork. Give me a plastic fork. What are you going to do? And I was like, well, I just want to walk over and hand it to him. and then the answer, of course, I got was like, I don't think you're allowed to do that. Bring things like that into the Oval Office. But well, no, it's okay, fine. So I didn't. So I think, okay. So I'm thinking about this. Okay, I've got a question. I've got maybe only a chance to get one question in. And what is it? And because I wanted to specifically pierce this, like, stupid idea that people have that he's trying to do something to help the city. He's not trying to help the city. He's trying to help his people. And he's doing that by specifically targeting one group of people that he has designated as the enemy class, the kulaks, that he wants to then take what they have built and give it to others. And it's so key, by the way, that he said white neighborhoods. And that's why I brought that up to him. I said, these are your words. No, they're not. Yes, they are. No, yes, he denies it. Like it's like denying Jesus 3 times. Like he denies it 3 times and says, "No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, it's your words. Why'd you say that?" Well, that was those were words of description, not words of intent. Mm-hmm. So you intend to tax the neighborhoods you described as white more. Like, how does that change? And he was getting he was like kind of quivering. His legs were bouncing, which you're not allowed to do here. There's all these signs. Tim has all these signs around that say, "Do not bounce your legs."
Logan Hall rules.
Logan
Hall. Logan, man, what an anti-patriot.
Yeah,
and
true. So true.
Yeah. Patriotism is lacking, you traitor. And so I square up on this, and you could see that nobody had ever really challenged him on this topic before. And, I don't know why anyone in New York hadn't tried to actually just call him out on this to his face. And you've got to do that, though, when you call out somebody. Don't let them play these linguistic games. Just stick on the point. You said this. Why did you say this? Why? I didn't make it racial. You brought up race.
Yeah.
Why did you say white people? Because what he's doing, and that's where he slipped up. Because to John's point, all of this is done with a wink and a nod to, and you saw it, of course, in his victory speech as well. And I mentioned it. I said you didn't thank white people, you didn't thank Christians, you didn't say the word America once. But we hear, what was it, like the Bangladeshi cab drivers and the abuelas, and he's very clear. He's very clear. These are my constituents, right? The South Asians, the immigrants, the non-New Yorkers. These are my constituents, and I will take the things that the actual New Yorkers have made and built and constructed for all these years, and I will give it to you. And it's key, by the way, and I'll just end on this, that he said the white neighborhoods. Notice he didn't necessarily say the rich.
Yeah.
You notice that? He didn't say it like a quote unquote like traditional Marxist would.
Right.
That's how you know he's a cultural Marxist.
Well, that's what he's thinking. In his head, he's not thinking of the Upper East Side. He's thinking of like Maspeth. He's thinking of Staten Island, just normal middle class white people. Because he said in his own words in college that he resents white people because he was rejected by white women growing up.
Yep.
Every such
he
case,
couldn't pull any white women. So
Literally
now
every
he's like going to just take it out on these like middle class Irish people in Aspeth. They're going to be on the receiving end of this resentment. And then to your point, like where you can just read them their words. I mean, this happened the other day. If you go watch Jasmine Crockett was on Jake Tapper's show, and Jake Tapper didn't press her. All he did was just read her quote where she was basically saying that Hispanics and black people that voted for Trump in Texas were slaves. And he literally read her quote verbatim, and she's like, "That's not what I was saying at all. I don't know what you're talking about."
But what would
It's,
you
like,
say
ridiculous.
if you had said that? I didn't say that.
I know. So it's just like the new strategy is just read these people's words back to them and then just watch them quiver. And it's really frustrating because at the point, the stage that the left is at, I don't even know if that really even works anymore. I mean, like legitimately, they just it's so over.
Well, it doesn't work on them, but what you can hopefully do is try to find people in the middle who may be kind of trapped up in this like pretzel logic that John's talking about of no, it's really good actually that our enemies are winning, you know, and you just say to them, no, it's very clear what he's doing. This isn't some deregulation like based libertarian kind of thing. It's still just gay race Marxism, gay race communism over and over and over. And no, you know, to your point, and the other people who have this take like, oh, Mondami's going to be so bad that like it's going to change people's minds and they'll rise up. It's like, when does that happen exactly? Yeah. Like when does that happen? When did the people just rise up on their own? Because
Doyle's point, I mean,
I've never seen it.
This time last year, I was in South Africa. I saw it firsthand. Like the people there know exactly what's going on. Everyone there's radicalized. Everyone there is awake. It's just like once power is stripped away from you and they cut off your avenues to power, it's over. Like
that's why Elon is so good on a lot of these issues.
Yeah.
Because he's already lost a country.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's never come out and just said it, but you can tell that's why he fights so hard against this stuff.
He's come close.
But not like he's called out the South African government plenty of times, but I don't know if he's ever just specifically said this. What we did was wrong, right? When we turned the country over and wrote wokeism and DEI and critical race theory into when Bill Clinton went with Nelson Mandela and wrote critical race theory into the Constitution of South Africa, it destroyed our country.
Yep.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.